My name is Charlie, and I've spent over $1 billion on ads across my brands, clients, and agencies. And on behalf of some of the biggest companies in the world, in this video, partnering with Foreplay, I reveal what most marketers never get to see. I'm going to show you a recorded Zoom call, auditing a complete stranger's ad account to show them the settings and the strategies they can use to immediately boost the returns so you can repeat the process for yourself. There's no staging, just real process, real stakes, real money. Let's get to it. In here, today and yesterday, can you do me a favor and go maybe like last 7 days or last 30?
Yeah. Sorry, I was
Yeah,
kind of playing around with some numbers. Can you see
no
my screen?
worries.
Okay, this is on my big screen. I can move it to a smaller one.
No, you're good. You're good here. By the way, I never look at today's results in the ad account. Just fun fact.
Sorry.
Unless I want some dopamine or depression. Either way.
Yeah,
Usually it's not a happy place.
yeah,
Uh, Either way, in here, we have scale, we have CBO, we have a retargeting, we have a prospecting, there's some ABO. I don't hate that the retargeting is an ABO. I'm okay with that. But the prospecting in an ABO, that's a creative testing campaign for a scaling campaign in a CBO. Got it. Your average order value is kind of all over the place. It bothers me that your retargeting AOV is less than your normal. Just a quick point, if you are spending money retargeting individuals, don't send them anything other than higher than average cost items. Don't spend more money to chase down people with the opportunity to give you less. That is, it's bad business to spend more to make less. My 2 cents. One of
yeah.
my
Right now
number
we're
one hacks that I
we're
do all the
serving a lot of
time.
20% off ads that I think are just after listening to you. I feel like that's a bad strategy.
Yeah, I mean, look, that cost per purchase is, 53, but you lose 22 bucks on every sale. That
Yeah,
customer is also less likely to buy again. I get that maybe you have a product where somebody's going to buy from you more than once, but that customer is less likely than others to buy from you again. I would look at the cohort of second purchase rate by people that take that discount, and I will bet you a Chipotle bowl, it is below average. Whatever it is. So, although I don't hate the idea of having a retargeting campaign, if what I'm retargeting with is an above average, if you had a retargeting campaign with $100 offer, fucking let it rip.
got it.
Because that would be 2x your AOV. I'm assuming your LTV, that would be if you can have an offer that is a lift on your LTV. So for instance, at Under Outfit, the average bra was 40 bucks. The average woman bought two and a half, which means they're worth about $100. We launched a buy three, get one free campaign. That AOV was 120, meaning on day one, we improved LTV by 20%. Those people were also 3 times more likely to buy a second time. And over time, the LTV went from 100 bucks to over 500. So just highly
Yeah,
recommend that.
that's
Move
awesome.
up market. Sorry, what's that?
That's awesome. Yeah, and we do have opportunities to do that kind of stuff. So basically, we sell a prenatal, a men's, and a women's powdered multivitamin. Pretty
Love it.
simple. LTV's higher, retention's okay. We were spending more, but we have an ads manager that's managing this for us right now. But just after talking, or I guess listening to you guys, it's like this is we've known it's been broken, but
Sure.
it's yeah, seemingly.
I,
And our
yeah. I mean,
LTVs are great, but it just takes us a while to get to that profitability and, you know, cash is a bitch.
yeah, I hear you. Um, if the ad spend was like 10 times this, I would say, you might be able to afford my team, but this is not a sales pitch. I'd be happy to help you on what's going on though. If we can save you a little bit of money, make you a little bit of time, and if there's other resources I can do to make you better off, let's do it. At a very high level here, your new ads are hyper efficient versus your scaling ads, but also the AOV is way less. I don't think that there's any real actionable insight in between the new ads and the CBO. I think we've talked a lot about simplification, so let's just try to see this in a macro level. If we go to micro level, if we go to the scale CBO, and I feel like we've tried to hit a lot of places in the ad account. So like, I don't feel bad, if you hit the just amount spent number over the last 7 days, just so we can sort this. I guess
Yeah.
this is all of them. And I'm guessing something's off today because it was bad or whatever it is. Um, what we can see, if you just go do the breakdown by day real quick, I just kind of want to do it with this quick little 4 PI here. If we see this ad that got 850 bucks, that's 30% of people on the average on a day are seeing this ad more than once, but the CPM is low. Again, this is something we're seeing more and more and more of, and especially since August, Facebook made an update to change like page score, and we're just seeing the people that like your content are getting hammered with the same ads over and over and over and over again. So this has definitely changed. If you go historically, the third week of August was the worst period of time for all of this, and then the machine's sort of self-correcting. So if you look at trend analysis, I mean, last year in the last 4 or 5 years, we weren't, driving full speed into a recession, so the unit economics are a little bit different. But this is a really great ad for people who are already likely to buy. And the cost per purchase is lower. I guess it's above average. The AOV is about average. So, like, I'm glad that you turned this thing off. If we scroll down a little bit, this next ad didn't earn as much spend. There's just what I'm seeing here more than anything is a lack of consistency in the deliveries, although the performance is very consistent. Meaning, ultimately, what this tells me is you've spent a fair amount of money, you've taught the machine how to use your ads. The problem is, I don't know that the machine understands what success is, and you probably have a lot of moving parts. That's my takeaway. I don't know if Jack, if you're seeing the same thing, but
I
that's kind of
couldn't,
what I'm getting out of it.
yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think I see this quite a lot, Adams, with brands that have a great product. They're serving their customer well. Their customer loves their product. They're advertising more on D2C, and then they just diversify until the point where they're not getting enough information into the platform, right? So
Yeah,
it doesn't know what success looks like. I mean, if we go back to the campaign level, we're just looking at the last 7 days, but I noticed at the campaign level you had. I'm not sure if some of these are ABOs, so it might even be multiply more, but there's at least 184 budget lines here. I'm not sure how long you've been advertising for, but that's 184 times where some small budget has been spent kind of understanding and trying to teach the platform what success looks like. And I think that some of those tests were probably killed emotionally or for budget reasons rather than um, because it was determined that those creatives wouldn't work or that composition of the campaign wouldn't work. So that would a consolidation in this account and making it a little bit simpler for you to understand what's going on would
Yeah.
probably be my number one recommendation.
So
It
KISS,
looks like
keep
you've
it
done
simple,
a lot of
stupid.
research. Say again.
KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
Maybe. I
yeah,
mean, like sometimes one of the things that I like to say is that like the platform knows better than we do, right? We are trusting in the platform to do marketing for us. This isn't manual marketing where we're out on the street with brochures in our hand and we're saying, "Hey, people, come to our gym." And then we look at our potential customers and we say, "Oh, is this the type of person who's going to come to our gym?" Well, no, it's a baby in a stroller, or it's I don't know, a very elderly person. They're unlikely to sign up for my gym, so I won't give them a brochure. We're relying on Meta to hand out those brochures for us. We're already deferring responsibility to them to do the targeting for us, right? To show our ad to the right person. But the only way it can do that is if it has the information, right? It knows what success looks like and it has information to inform who to show the next ad to. And in a bunch of these ad accounts that we've looked at today, the common thread that I'm seeing is that pretty much all of these ad sets campaigns are learning limited. And there's a huge amount of budget being split across different vehicles, different ads, like Charlie was speaking about. And you're unable to find a foothold, right? I think you could have a winning ad in your account now, right? But because it's been spent on in 16 different ad instances and it's got $100 each time, the platform may never have learned how to use it properly, right? That would be my 2 cents here. Just taking a look at your account. Yes, making it a little bit more simple might be. It's definitely Meta's recommendation, right? If you go to your account overview, you'll probably see recommendations from Meta to consolidate your campaigns. But it'd also be mine. Yeah.
yeah. I would add one note to that as well. I mean, I mentioned them before, Amers, but more than anything, especially with these issues that we're talking about, especially with these frequency numbers and whatnot, having the optimization event of new customer being what you're training new creative tests to be good at. Like, if you remember, it's a machine learning algorithm. So what are you teaching it? Right now, you're teaching it any sale from anybody you can show anything to, regardless if it's the reason it happened or if they bought again. Any sale is good. If instead we can say the only way you can pat yourself on the back is if your ad gets shown to somebody that hasn't bought from us before. You're going to train the machine to reduce the frequencies and reach net new individuals. So your marketing is going to be far more incremental. And a beautiful part about that, the knock-on effect, is that your email and your search is going to be far more fruitful. If you were to not change anything other than the optimization event and teach the machine to focus on that, you would probably see a substantial lift in search volume and new customer revenue from onboarding email flows because you're reaching more of the people that the higher percentage of the people that you reach are the machine trying to bring you net new customers. Um, which side note, that's kind of what incremental attribution is supposed to do, but the machine is too dumb to get it done right now. My number one recommendation, if you don't want to watch my YouTube video that'll come out in like a month, is do new customer optimization events.
And you get that through Ammerse?
I use Amers for that. Shout out to some other tools. Blotout is famous. Elevar is great. The teams at Popsicle are very good. I like them if I don't have Shopify. But I think Amers is that's where I'm sending everybody. If you're on Shopify, I think it's the simplest, most elegant solution. It takes 10 minutes to install, and her team is small. The woman that runs it is coding. And to be fair, guys at Popsicle, very similar experience. There's like a 5, 6 person team. If you've got a problem, they'll hop in on a Saturday and code you an answer. But most of those tools, Blotout, Elevar, Popsicle, etc., are going to ask you to install the new pixel and basically create a new data set. Amers is a Shopify plugin that connects your Facebook, your Klaviyo, and your Google. Almost called it Joogle. I think, yeah, maybe this is a good time to call the call to call it a day on this call. But that's a Shopify plugin that you can install in 10 minutes. That'll give you that visibility across your entire marketing suite and the ability to optimize for that event.
Got it.
What I also want to tell you this. The more you optimize for new customers, you're going to see one of two things happen. You're going to see two things happening. Now remember, customer acquisition cost is a nonsense metric. You have no idea how much it costs to acquire a new customer. What you know is how much money did I spend, and of all the sales, what percentage were new. So if you spend $100 and get 10 sales, your CPA is 10. If 9 of those people are not returning, if 9 of those people are new, your CAC is lower, but you still made the same amount of sales. If one of those 10 customers is new, your CAC is much higher, but you still made the same amount of sales. So your customer acquisition cost is just a vanity metric in that way. But the reason that's important is if you get a higher percentage of new customers, you can expect your blended CPA to go up because you're buying more expensive transactions. That's okay if you have a business built on repeat transactions. If you have a business rather than being a salesperson, bye, Jack. I gotta go too. So, yeah. Anyway, and thank you, Jack. I appreciate it. If you do in fact have a high confidence in the ability to drive multiple transactions from the same customer, if it's a 30-day cash flow cycle, your blended CPA might go up every single day as you optimize for new customers. But as soon as that kinetic energy that you've been investing in converts, your blended CPA drops. So for instance, if it costs you $50 to acquire a new customer, but 20% of those people buy again in 30 days, your blended CPA is $50 for the first 30 days. On day 31, it's 40, which
Yep.
all of a sudden means you can crank your budget. The entire business is about making the volume of that repeat track, that repeat, we call it revenue floor, the money you make from repeat customers. This business is all about making that number bigger every month. So optimizing your ad spend to acquire new people and then optimizing your business model to get those folks to buy again means that everybody has a job to do. And you can clearly assign cost targets and volume targets to each person on the team. And you're doing everything in the world on search, email, etc., and Facebook to optimize for the highest volume of new customers. And if you double that number, your conversion rate on that to second purchase could go down, but the pool of individuals can be so much higher. That's how you get your reoccurring revenue number to go up. Right now, somebody that's bought from you 10 times is worth the same as somebody who's never bought from you before at all. But the more that your ads are getting good at bringing in new customers, the more all of the decisions you make in your marketing are going to be good at either getting somebody to be new or get a new person to be returning. And in this business, especially because it's short window, but subscription, everything is about as many new people as you possibly can, and then let the business model and the product quality do all the heavy lifting. I mean, we're about to have our second kid. This is by no means a space that I'm not familiar with. And
Congrats.
getting, thank you. Uh, this is not a product where people are going to be happy or dissatisfied with the quality. It is everything about making them trust you, and then you've got 6 months, 9 months, whatever it is, right? And maybe they come back again. But if I can be profitable on the second sale, I'm not spending enough on the first. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
And then it's
So
just a matter of like how much money do you have in the bank? How long is that cash flow cycle? And can you build other offers to improve that AOV? Like, could you have a maternity pack that's like a 9 month subscription where you sell that thing for the price of six and now your AOV is in the hundreds? Sure.
yeah, yeah, I think we need to test more of that kind of stuff. So okay,
Yeah, I'll tell you, nickel and diamond at the ad level, doing all of this small spending at a bunch of places is going to do a lot less for you than figuring out how to get your AOV of your first transaction to be greater than the LTV of your average customer. And
so
then it's what is the simplest way of getting more of that person?
So one question for you, because I know you got to go, but so one thing our
Sure.
ad buyer does, right, and this is why we have so many different campaigns, is we'll run an ad and then he'll say, oh, it's doing really well, oh, but it's dying down, so I had to turn it off and we're going to put on something new. And really it's, oh, it started to die down, so we're going to do something new, and that's what continuously happens.
Sure.
And we'll push back and say, hey, that ad was doing really well a while back. Why don't we run that again? And we'll run it with a pretty limited budget. Is that just a stupid strategy?
Yeah. But let me give you a better answer than that. And I'll try to do it in a simple way. Andrea, yeah, you can DM me stuff. Also, by the way, guys, I do have to get going, but I'm available on socials. I've Disruptor Academy's on school. It's like $150 a month. We have chats every week. I'm doing another one of these things tomorrow over there. At the MBA. I'm reachable in a lot of spaces, but I do have my baby monitor out, Andrea. So as soon as this girl moves, I'm done. Yeah. Anyway, all that to be said, let me give you the three reasons why I don't like it. Number one, ad fatigue is almost always operator error. The reason an ad is dying has often to do far more with changes in the macroeconomic ecosystem of the landing page, the customer journey, and just the environment that you're in. Um, Seasonality, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
When you launch new ads get launched against the audience who are most likely to receive that ad positively. Just like when you launch a video on YouTube or post something to TikTok or whatever. I'm sure, Adams, you're completely familiar with TikTok. I'm sure you got a million followers. Um,
Totally.
just say, the point is, when you launch a new video, it goes out to the couple hundred people they think is the test audience. Will these people like it or not? Organic and paid distribution is the same engine. When you launch a new ad, it's launching against the people who are most likely to receive it positively. So the more new ads you launch, the more you are polluting the bottom of the funnel with a new ad. Essentially, these low budget ad tests, the reason it looks so much better than everything else is because it's the bottom of funnel retargeting for all of the other marketing funnels, which is the reason when you take something that works in an ABO at a small budget and then you try to scale it broad in another campaign, what happens? It stops working. Well, it's because it only worked with training wheels on in the backyard. It didn't actually prove to you that it could work in the real world. And you're going to find some ads that work great. See, Viviana, you're going to find some ads that work great there. But ultimately, what you are doing right now is investing a lot of time and energy to creative test concepts for ads to see what you actually want to test in a way that makes your business as usual far less effective. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
So I think you can easily turn back on ads that used to be effective. I do it all the time. But my number one focus here would be getting to a place where can I have one campaign that's built on new customer acquisition and figure out the simplest way to feel okay with raising that budget? And given the complexity of the ad account you're currently at, adding that one additional campaign with going back to the very first person we talked to, uh, I don't remember the name. It's been a minute, and now my teleprompter's glitching out on me, so I can't see it on my notes on my other monitor. Um, if we can understand what the best way of acquiring new customers is, and while we're adding complexity, if we can use that as a space to ultimately consolidate into, then I think we're going to be okay. I think my number one focus is, can I get 80% of this $2,000 into one campaign over the next 3 weeks?
Okay.
And while that's happening, can I market test another offer with an AOV that is 2 to 3 times as high as my current one? Can I beat my existing LTV by 20%, 50%, 100%? What does that look like? Because ultimately, that's the thing that's going to help you move the business forward. More and more ads that attract more and more new kinds of people that behave for more and more different reasons is going to make every move you make on the conversion rate optimization, email, search, everything that you do more and more difficult. Because you're essentially optimizing for all the people that came in yesterday, but the people that come in tomorrow don't behave the same way.
Got it.
So it essentially is like, if you have a store, I like to think of things in real world application of like physical locations. If you have a store and you optimize the layout of the store to try to figure out what you go on the end cap and all of that fun stuff.
Mhm.
And then you say, awesome, tomorrow we're going to go attract 1,000 people who've never been here before. They're all for a completely different reason. All the time and effort you figure out what your end caps are, you're trying to say, let me optimize to make the least profitable way of making money, the way that most effectively undermines everybody else. And really, the purpose of your ad account is to amplify the volume of opportunity that your existing successful business model has. I'm not opposed to creative testing. I love to do it. And that's one of the reasons that I like working with Foreplay, because I think they're very good at showing what ads are moving and how they're moving. And it's a great way of understanding where you creating ad fatigue. But if your number one way to make the least profitable transaction look a little bit better on paper is a thing that makes all of the more profitable transactions almost impossible to achieve, that is a bad allocation of resources. And performance marketers generally are taught to make growth very difficult. And I only know that because I used to think I was one of the best performance marketers in the world. And then I realized, like, oh, every win that I get makes everybody else worse. And then I realized my real job as somebody that runs Facebook ads, if I can double the revenue the email team makes and triple the revenue that the retention team gets and triple the search volume that Google gets, I can be 20% worse and I'm not spending enough. Like, your job is to be the volume knob, not to be the funnel. And when you begin to look at it in that sense, there's a lot of things that you're going to see is, does this help me acquire a more valuable customer or a new one? And if the answer is no, it's a liability. And if you can't understand the impact on your bank account because of any move that you make, what you have is a system that you can't actually understand. And it's essentially impossible to improve something you can't measure. So you're just throwing a lot of spaghetti at the wall. And like we've seen a couple times today, when you do that, your ad account gets better and worse because CPMs go up and down and buying intent goes up and down. But you are riding the wave instead of steering the ship.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, I hope that kind of hits home as to like, man, that's how I feel, because then that's great.
That's
But
exactly how I feel.
okay, good.
So I mean, if I so just to put it like, and this is a complicated subject, but should we be doing like not, less is more type of thing? Like, let's find, so we have 5 or 6 ads that we know work. Sometimes some weeks they
Love
go
it.
down, some weeks they go up. Put it into that one campaign, let those
Yeah,
5 ads do their thing, and do less creative testing with such a small budget.
100%. Those 5 or 6 ads, what are they not good at? They're my all-star team. 5 or 6, it's a basketball. Are you familiar with basketball? I mean, yeah, right? So who's the worst guy on the court of the 5 ads you got?
Yeah,
All you need to do is improve that one player and the entire team gets better.
got it.
Is your prospecting ad too upper funnel? Is your retargeting ad not efficient enough? Is the really killer ad that you love not getting enough spend because actually it's kind of shit? If you can't take, if you can begin to understand what each member of your team contributes and which one gives you the best opportunity to improve the output of the overall team, you're great. I mean, I use this analogy like a lot of folks try to find the best ad and scale it, but it's like no matter how good he is, LeBron, Steph Curry, Jordan, if you put them against an entire other team, they're going to lose basically every game. So if you can figure out a way to stabilize the kinds of people that come into your campaign, into your funnel.
Yep.
And I used an analogy. There's a video I dropped on my YouTube channel a couple weeks ago that kind of fired off this whole thing that why Jack, Jack and I were doing this thing. It's like I think it's called like I spent $1 billion on Facebook and here's what I learned, which is true. It really gets into a lot of those things, and really kind of helps you weaponize that. The point is, if you know essentially what the psychographic makeup is and the value of the people that come into your store, the ability for you to improve the monetization of their experience becomes exceptionally easier. If you run a lot of landing page tests and every one of them is a 15% lift in conversion rate and you're in a worse place than you started 6 months ago, it's because you're making a lot of tests to see how the people who never come to your store anymore would behave. You're trying to improve your retroactive report card instead of stabilizing something you can build upon. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
So if you can build out those 5 or 6 ads, and by the way, I love 5 or 6. I think my average accounts that spend, whether it's $100 a day or 100,000, generally my control ad set is the terminology for this. Generally, that control ad set has half a dozen max ads in it. And maybe it has 8 to 10, but some are turned off, some are turned on, like they're kind of cycling through what have you done for me lately, that kind of stuff. But on any given day, it's generally no more than half a dozen ads that are live. And I've hit $50,000 days with like 2 ads in an account, because I knew how to convert those people that saw that ad. I only had to do one job very well. One ad was upper funnel, one was lower. All I needed to do is take somebody that saw either one of those ads and convert them better. That was a very simple job. And then I'd be
Ad
working
sets that
on,
you're putting in per campaign, I guess. So if we have
yeah,
a campaign just for prenatal, for example, we just do one ad set.
I would start with one ad set of your proven best ads.
Okay.
And then you can begin to test against that with the other ads that you think are going to be the best solution to the problem you have. So remember, why do you test? Scientific method. I understand the problem. I have a hypothesis of how to fix it. I've defined how to measure the results to prove whether or not I'm right. And then I launch a variable against the control to see if I'm correct in my assumption. I have 5 ads. I know how they work. I know that I have an upper funnel ad problem. I think this video creative will solve that problem and better speaks to the ads that are static in that campaign or in that ad set that are really good at converting. My upper funnel problem is that my prospecting ads are too far away from my good retargeting ads. They're not complementary enough. So let me make that conversation more cohesive. Well, let me build some ads that I think are going to be great for when somebody watches this video. If they don't buy the static ads that work, are the great second touch to that conversation. Does it earn spend? Yes or no? If no, it's not good. If yes, what happens to the efficiency? Does that earn spend away from other top of funnel ads in a way that also drives more volume or efficiency to the bottom funnel ones? If the answer to that is yes, your campaign is going to perform better. And at that point, you kind of inch yourself away from the other top of funnel ads. And all that's done is allow you to feel more comfortable investing more. And then you scale up the budget to see how much more load how much more load can this better machine handle? And while all of that's happening, the way you get out ahead of that is how do I make each session more valuable? How do I make each customer journey more valuable? That matcha brand that I'm talking about, we are doing this on the new customer versus the legacy campaign that wasn't, but we've also raised the value of a customer on the website. Revenue per session went from $1.48 to $2.17. Well, that essentially means our allowable customer, all of our allowables moved up 50%. So we're just adding budget every single day, like formulaically, right? Let's just a percentage change. And now we're trying to test instead of a 15 serving bag one time, what about 3 bags on a 6 month subscription? Can we get you to spend 200? The answer is yes. I'll spend $100 to sell somebody on 200 on a subscription versus 40 to get somebody to buy a $30 item hoping to be profitable in 30 days. One of those is just a much better business. And then you figure out what you need to do because you have a limited budget against what your opportunity is. The number one focus in this business is what is the item that most commonly gets somebody to buy a second time? How do I get that customer acquisition started at the highest volume at any rate that's profitable? The higher the volume, the lower the profitability needs to be. The longer the tail of that customer journey, the lower the profitability needs to be. The higher the AOV and the LTV, the greater the cost can be that is still profitable. If you focus on all of that, you're never actually touching the ads anymore because you understand what the source looks like, and all you're doing is fixing everything downstream. And the whole purpose of fixing downstream is, can I get ahead of the depreciation of the ad as I scale up the volume? And if the answer is yes, you're in your ad account for like an hour a week. You're spending the rest of the time doing stuff that actually matters. And like that's the ethos of the Meta MBA program, the stuff that I've been teaching for years. That's how I've gotten half a dozen businesses to 8-figure exits and built a couple 9-figure brands, or been a part of building a couple 9-figure brands over the last like 5 or 6 years. Not the founder of any of them, but I've been the person on the team that kind of helped. Full disclosure, like I didn't run New Balance, but I was the guy running the ad account when they got younger. Like I'm not trying to take credit for work that isn't mine. Um, but that's the fundamental shift that ultimately gets you from can I be a good salesperson to can I be a good investment banker? You're either buying cash flow cycles or you're trying to hack arbitrage to not go out of business yet.
Yeah.
All right. My girl is stirring, so I gotta go.
You're
This
the
was
man.
supposed to be an hour. It's almost
2.5
two and a
hours later.
half. You can see I thoroughly fucking enjoy this shit. Steven's here. Hi, Steven. I think we'll be chatting on Monday. Anyway, Steven, I've got to blow people up. Hi. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff I do all the time. This for me is my happy place. I thoroughly enjoy this shit. And I hope that you all that are here got a lot out of it. If you need other help, please DM me. I'm available everywhere. And I've got training resources for folks that want to invest in stuff, whether it's, 100, 200 a month, or a lot more than that. Um, if I can help you be successful, then I've done my job. And I really appreciate it, everybody. You've invested your time with me. I hope you got something out of it. And if not, never show up to one of these again. And if so, tell the guys at Foreplay you really liked it. And we'll keep doing these things. And if you haven't signed up for Foreplay yet, well, please sign up for their tech if it's valuable for you. I think they're good dudes. I really like what they're doing. There's 4 or 5 different solutions for it, but man, they just think about it in a better way. And that's my 2 cents, which is why I was like, yo, Jack, let's do this thing. But anyway, that being said, I'm now a loopy, crazy person repeating myself 5 times. And without a script, I have no idea how to end the video. So until next time, I'll see you all on the internet. Bye, everybody. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do.